Hello, this is Rakesh Rao from Designsense Software Technologies, Bangalore, and welcome to the first video of CADPower running on the ZWCAD platform. We are pleased to announce to you that ZWCAD is now supported as a platform for CADPower, and it runs on the 2025 edition of the standard and professional versions of ZWCAD. So before we get in, what is CADPower? Now CADPower is a general purpose productivity tool which can be used to improve your speed in daily drafting and design tasks. It is a collection of over 500 tools which have been organized in different categories, and they are all generic and general purpose, which means they are not specifically aimed at any particular industry, but they can be used by anyone in the CAD industry to achieve speed drafting. So the tools are organized in different categories. For example, you can see there are Polyline tools, conversion, export, draw, build, annotation, BOM, BOQ, and so on. These tools are all working in concert to provide you a productivity benefit that can range from 2 to 10 times depending on the workflow that you are following. So let us start with some of the tools so that we get an idea as to what exactly these productivity tools are. So I'm going to start with our most popular tool, which is called Draw Quick Text or Running Numbers. Some of you may have used this similar tool in platforms like AutoCAD, but our implementation of the text counter is far more advanced. For example, this tool allows you to place text with incrementing patterns. You can choose between integer, real, or character patterns. You can specify prefix and suffix. You can also have a text or a block attribute, and you can set all these parameters like rotation angle, scale factor, text height, incrementing value, and so on. So let us look at some examples. So I'm setting the prefix as road number, and I'm setting the increment type as integer and the starting value as 100. So if I'm now going to click a point, it's going to create a text called road number 100. So as I go clicking on the screen, I can get the sequence from 100 to 105. Now, like I said, everything here is configurable, so including the increments and other things. You can also choose block attributes. So if I choose block attributes, select fuse as my block and equipment number as my counter attribute, then I can do the same thing on blocks as well. For example, here I have a block, so I'm going to just create a block insertion here. So you can see the block has been created and the equipment number has been populated with road number 106 as the attribute. Now as I click, you can see that the attribute number is incrementing. Now this is a great tool for those who work a lot with attributes. So it becomes very easy for you to create incrementing attributes and blocks, especially useful for people working in the utilities sector, road design, and so on. You can also create a range text. So when you say range text, it means you start from a range and end at a range. So it can create a column of text. So for example, I'm going to create prefix as, or just remove the prefix. I'll start from AA as my starting range and AK as my ending range, and I can specify the range parameters here like text height and so on. So I pick a point here. So you can see now I have created text from AA to AK. So this is called as range text. So this is also one of the possibilities in the cp_tc text counter command. Let us now look at some annotation commands. So I'm going to use this sample drawing here and show you how you can do some annotations. So under annotation, we have label polyline segments. This is the first one I'm going to show you. So here you can label the segments with distances, dimensions, bearing, slope, and so on. So for example, if you go to bearing, you have full control on how your bearing dimension should appear. If you put slope, you have slope annotations in different ways possible. So just to demonstrate concept, let me go to the simple one, which is distances. I want it outside the polyline, and I'm just going to say OK and select this one and apply. So you can see that the distances of this polyline have been now annotated on the outside. Now if you want something inside the polyline, you can just choose inside, and here I'm going to say running numbers and go back and click on this polyline, and you can see that the segment numbers have been mentioned on the inside now. So this is again a very useful tool for many users to be able to annotate the polylines. Let's say you want to number the vertices from 1 to the end. So again I can go here to label polyline vertices. I'll say running numbers, starting value I'll say 1. So I'm going to select this polyline. So you can see it starts from 1, then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this way. So this is an annotation tool, again quite useful for almost every CAD user. So if you go to part editing, you can see there are different part editing options possible within the polyline. So for example, you can extract a part of the polyline, copy and move part of polyline, offset part of polyline, and so on. So let's look at two quick examples here. So one is copy and move part of the polyline. So you have to choose the first point from where you want to move. So pick this, and this is the second point here. So when I do that, it automatically extracts the polyline in between, the segments in between, and you can move it and put it on a different location. Now if you were to do this without CADPower, it would take you several minutes. You will have to do an explode, copy, p-edit, break, join, and all that. So here it's very intuitive. You just pick 2 points and that gets extracted and moved. Now similarly, let's look at offset. So if I pick first point and second point, and if I say offset this side, and if I say offset by say 400, so you can see that exactly from that point to this point which I picked, it has done an offset at a distance of 400. So every single part edit command is a time saver. If you are into this kind of job where you have to do a lot of polyline segment editing, then you must try these commands. They are real time savers. Next, let us move on to one of our another popular sections in CADPower. This is the BOM BOQ tools. Now here you see a utility drawing with lots of blocks in it, and I'm going to create a BOQ table or a bill of materials quantities table. So it's very easy to use this. It works on the concept of a parameter file which stores all the values like your cost information, time information, and all that. So I just need to select all my blocks, and once I have my INI file in place, it's just pick and point and you can create your BOM. So you can see here that the BOM is created from the selection whatever blocks were there, the description, the quantity, number of blocks in the drawing, the unit cost, total cost. Now everything is configurable. For example, let me run this once again with a change of parameters. So I'm going to say show time and weight analysis also, and I'm also going to say show block preview in the drawing, which means it shows me the block preview as well. You can see that you can also do units conversion, so it helps you to take out quantities from blocks which are in different units. I'll say OK, select this. So it already recognizes there is an existing table, so I'll say keep it, don't delete it. So let's put a new one next to it. So you can see the difference now. This is a simple table. Here you have the block preview and also time and weight analysis. So time and weight are just two attributes I have chosen. So instead of that, you can choose any other attribute also if you want. But normally whenever somebody wants to take quantities, it's either they've tried to find the weight or the time or such similar aspect. Of course, cost is universal, so we have put that as a default item here. Now this information is also written to the Excel file. So if I go back to my folder, so here you can see that it's already exported as an Excel file as well. So like I've been saying earlier also in this demo, most of CADPower commands are designed to export data into Excel files, and it makes it very convenient for that reason. Now let us next look at another command which is very useful for the manufacturing industry. This is called as a whole table command. Before we start, by the way, I'd like to also inform you that there is a ribbon here where all the commands are available, and you can access them from the ribbon as well as from the pull down menu or from the toolbars, and you can also access it from the command line. So if you type CP and underscore, you can see all the commands which are available in CADPower. So here now I go to draw, rule based, draw whole table. Now whole table or whole chart is nothing but a detailed XY notation of items inside a frame. Now the menu is quite big, but it covers almost all the workflows that are typically used in the manufacturing industry. So let us use linear from origin as a dimensioning method. Let me put some values here, say 500 and 700 as the offset distances, and I'll say OK. Origin, this point is fine. Point on the x-axis is this one. So it has already created the whole table, and it's asking to place the table. Now I'm just going to pick a point here. Do you want to scale it? I'll say yes, scale it by maybe 40. Yeah, so now if you look here, it has created a number of whole tables. So from the frame it found out the circular shapes, the polygonal shapes, and it has given me the whole table chart as well as the quantity chart. And like I said, all of this is fully configurable the way you want it, and you can see it is exported to Excel as well. So that is something for the manufacturing industry. Of course we have some more as well. I'll just point them out to you, but we will not do a demo as such now. So it is called CAM profile. So this is again used a lot in the manufacturing industry. So you can use CAM profile drawings using this command. Now back to the BOM BOQ tools. So here's another drawing where I have covered an area with these kind of blocks. Now it's very easy. I can do one in front of you. Say for example, this is a closed boundary and I want to cover it with tiles. So I'm going to say BOQ tools, place panels and tiles. So I have already defined a tile called tile, and its dimension is 1000 by 500 mm. So it's your typical granite or floor tile. So I'll say OK. Select polygonal area to fill, this one. Pick origin point is, let's say, end point of this, and alignment point is end point of this. So once you do this, the system automatically computes the tiles which will sit in this area, and it's going to neatly fill it up with that area. So this makes estimation and quantities generation very easy. And further, once you have these tiles, you can even edit them. So if I go here to BOQ tools, I can go here and say interactive X scale editor. So I can, let's say, pick a tile, and then I can edit, let's say, interactively the X scale factor by a factor of 10. So you can see that I am just pressing enter, and the tile is getting shortened by 10 mm each time. So this can be used to interactively complete your design and arrive at exactly the tiles that you want to fit your desired area. Now that is exactly what I have done here. So you can see I have named this tile as a Kajaria tile, and there are standard sizes of 1000 by 700, and there are various custom sizes here which I have done by custom editing like I showed you now. Now I can create a quantity table out of it in just a few seconds. So I go to count panels and tiles. So all my parameters are set here, and like I said, it's fully configurable and parameterized. So I select this and select a point here. Okay, so that's my table. It's kind of overlapping, so I'm just going to move it to the side. So you can see here that if you zoom in, there's a block name, then there's a size. So in the size you can see 1000 by 700 is the standard size, so there are 88 numbers. All other sizes which are custom cuts, they're all shown with their respective quantities. Unit cost, this is coming from the INI file. Total cost, unit area, unit volume, unit weight, total weight. So it can do all these calculations for you, and all of it is controlled from the INI file very easily. So for a typical project, we have been able to set this up in a company's workflow in just about 1 or 2 hours by studying their entire structure and setting up the INI file. Once you have an INI file for a particular project, you can just use it again and again. Alright, so those were some of the important commands that I wanted to cover in this demo. Of course, like you can see, there are lots of other commands as well. So before we wind up, let me go back here and show you one more command which is very easy to understand, easy to use, and very useful as well. So I go back to my text counter command and I'm going to create some text now. Let's say pipe number, and I'm going to create. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm deliberately going to create a lot of overlapping text. Okay, so now I'm sure you can't understand what this text is, but let us look at some of the CADPower commands which can help to rearrange this text. So one of them is called unclutter. So you can see unclutter in I think it's in editing. Yes, it's in editing, unclutter. So you can type it on the command line or you get it from the menu. So here unclutter allows you to optimize and move overlapping text in such a way that they can be seen clearly, they can be read. You can specify whether you want to move only in the vertical up direction, down direction, all 4 directions, and so on. So let's say I'll say all 4 just to start, and let us select all this. It takes a little time, but at the end of it you can see that it has organized all this text in a nice way. Now let us look at some other operations under text. So under display I'm going to say align text objects. So how do you want to align? Vertical, horizontal, or inclined? So I'll say vertical. So I'm going to select all these text, apply, pick point to align it on. So I'm going to pick a point here. So all this text has now got aligned. But now you can see that the spacing between them is not equal. So I can fix that also easily. I go to display, adjust spacing between text objects. Now you can provide equal spacing or you can specify an exact spacing. So if I say equal spacing and I select this, so you can see that it is all arranged neatly with equal spacing. So under text we have a lot of commands which are used for the last mile editing. Now we call it last mile editing because this is after all the design is done, just before printing and presentation. You need the drawing to look pretty. You don't want overlaps, you don't want misalignments, and so on. So CADPower provides you a lot of these last mile editing tools to make your drawing look ready for presentation. I have covered probably 5% or even lesser of all the commands that are there in CADPower. There are many other powerful tools like layer manager, and under the blocks and attributes there are tools for attribute management, which are really very powerful and very useful. Unfortunately, we can't cover all of this in a top level demo like this because we want to restrict it to about like 20 minutes of video to give you the message. But we are definitely making videos for each one of these tools, and you can just watch them on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching this video, and do let me know if you have any questions. And if you are a ZWCAD user, please make it a point to download CADPower for ZWCAD and try it and give us your feedback. Thank you.